Okay, so here we are for the next activity, which is starting to look at, because we've completed all the queries, and the queries, like I said before, are the most powerful thing within databases, so that we can manipulate the data which is stored in the tables, right? And we went through simple, dynamic, between dates, and a calculator. Make sure that you know how to do all of them, especially for your test, right? Now, the final part of how to use databases is to create reports. So we're going to go through 3 different activities. Let's do the first one, which is number 5, which is simple report. So I'm just going to open that tab up. And in the simple report, what we're going to do is we're going to use the report wizard, right? The report wizard to extract data from a table and then format it a little bit. Well, I'm not going to do all the formatting. You guys can try and do that in your own time. But here I've got the database, so I'm going to go over to my database area and I'm going to open the database, which is that section 5, activity 5, so double click that. And you notice now immediately always check when it says enable content, make sure that you've enabled it. Now for this simple report, all we want to do is create a client list, right? So I'm just going to pick the client table, right, the client table as my the list that I want as a for a report. So let's create the report. Go create report wizard. Remember, we're doing report, none of these other options here, but we're doing the report wizard. And with the report wizard, it's already picked up my client because I've highlighted here, but if it wasn't, make sure that you can pick the client. Let's put all of the parameters across, right, that I want to display in my report. And now here you can double click or pick items that you don't want to show in your report. So in the exercise, I'm just going to get rid of address, and I'm going to get rid of the suburb as well. So now I've got a list which might fit one page, right? So I'm going to first name. These are the items which will appear in my report. So let's go next. Next, this is again, I can do groupings here, which we'll touch on a little bit later. So I could actually, if I wanted to, group on states. So I can say all my clients for Victoria will be listed in such a way, right? But highlight that, get rid of it. I'm not going to do that at this point. Let's just create basically a client list that we can use as a mail out, right? So go next. Now, the fields that I would like to sort on, so I can do ascending, right? I'm going to do fields on last name, right? So I'm just going to, in the exercise it doesn't pick any, but just to show you that you can actually do ascending or descending type of sorting on a particular field in your report. So I'll go next. So I want mine formatted or sorted on last name. Now, for access, it's a good idea. Don't use portrait because portrait will sort of bunch everything up on the right hand side for you. So try and go as far as you can. Go over to landscape. So give yourself a lot of room. And I'm going to say justified for this, but maybe even tabular will still be okay. Right? So I'll leave it at that. Go next, and I'm going to call it my client list. Right, this is the name of my report. Okay, finish. And here's my report. It's been formatted for me. What I'm going to do is try and make sure that I can see. You notice it's been chopped. So if we had portrait, it'll probably chop all the way across here, and then I have to spend most of the time, formatting stuff to make it all fit. Here I can start modifying, or looking at how do I format this report, and you would do that in I'll show you that in a second, in like design view. But you notice there's a record navigator here. So this is my first page. I can go to next page, and I can subsequently go through all of the pages to get all of my customer list. Notice the list goes to 92 pages of customers, right? So let's close this preview. And by closing the preview, we immediately come into the design view. And if you have a look here, I can actually go back to view the report, or I can go back to the design view or the layout view. I'll go to design view at this stage. just to show you that a report has several very important sections. A report has a report header, so it's a header for the overall document. It has a report footer, so if I move down here, I actually have an overall footer, so these would appear once basically. And then we also have headers for each page. So page has a header and a footer separately. So I can even, the footer here says time, date, and the number of page, or page number, which you can see here, page number. Let me get rid of the field list, so at least we can see a bit more. And obviously in the middle is the repeating information, which is the details. So all the customers will be listed per page as we go along. Right? So what I want to do is I want to make sure that my email field is a little bit bigger than that. Right? So I'm going to try and squeeze things in. I'm going to control click both of these fields, and I'm going to resize them so my postcode is a bit smaller. I'm going to select, control click all of these fields here, and I'm going to use my arrow key on the keyboard to shift everything across. Right? And what I want to do is make sure that my state field, control click both of those guys, make sure the state field's small enough. Now I'm going to move these guys across with my arrow key. Oop, a little bit too far. There we go. And now I can actually make sure that my email is large enough to be displayed. Okay, so let's try this. We'll save first, and let's view the report. And you notice it's still chopping off. Obviously, I'd have to reformat this more and more, and make my page a bit wider and so forth to get all the email information in. But generally, you see how I actually went into design view and actually formatted things out, so I can use design view, layout view to actually move things around. So layout view or design view to actually modify this report. So that was our attempt at first simple report. You should know how to do that for using databases.